lie, but the brain cannot. This person is very deceptive.
I know what it's like to be abused. I know what it's like to feel pain. I would never hurt my child. I would never cause no bodily harm.
Those are my kids. Mine. Mine. I love them just as much as you love them, so why would you think I would do anything to harm my babies?
And if they didn't do it, then they know somebody that did do it.
It's time to get to the bottom of this. The truth needs to come out.
4 years ago, Destiny and her husband Michael's 1-month-old daughter was taken away as a result of abuse. The child suffered a fractured clavicle, humerus, and tibia. But Destiny's mom, Shannon, believes this was all an accident and that her own past is keeping her granddaughter from coming home. Take a look.
I'm here because there's accusations of my daughter and my son-in-law, Michael, abusing my granddaughter. 4 years ago, my daughter gave birth to my granddaughter. A month later, my daughter Destiny kept saying she kept hearing this pop noise, like somebody cracking their knuckles. And we went right back to the hospital. They started doing x-rays and found out her clavicle was fractured, and I don't know what this bone is called, but this part of her arm. And that's the only fracture that I could see. I just got emotional, stepped out, and when I came back, they telling me that there's more and more and more fractures. Oh my goodness, I was in tears. I was so emotional. I'm like, who's the baby with? Was anybody around? Could anybody have done this? And I couldn't come up with anything. After they confirmed the injuries, the Child Protective Services was called. They removed the baby, and we've been fighting this ever since. I feel as though my family is being railroaded because of my involvement in my past with child services as well. In 2005, my kids were being racially bullied, and after 6 months of this abuse, I was at my breaking point when my son disclosed something very personal, that I locked my kids in my van and parked in front of the school. Because my kids have a right to go to school and not be racially bullied by the color of their skin, and I was arrested, and my 3 kids were taken. So I believe with my past, it's all spiraling out of control, and we have not been able to get my grandkids. If one of them did this, there's gonna be hell to pay, because that's a little baby. She didn't deserve none of that. And if they didn't do it, then they know somebody that did do it. And that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom.
Destiny, that's your mom on the tape. What do you have to say?
She's telling the truth. I can't even explain. Can't even explain it. It's numb. It hurts so bad. I miss my daughter every day. And my girlfriend called the show because it's time to get to the bottom of this. I've been dealing with this for 4 years. The truth needs to come out.
Your daughter was taken away 4 years ago, right?
Yes.
How often do you get to see her?
Once a week for 2 hours. It's beautiful, but it's not enough. It's very emotional. Your daughter telling you, Mommy, I want to come home. Or she's playing, and out of nowhere she says, you promised not to hurt me. I don't know what's going on with her. Every day that I see her, it's another mark, it's another bruise, and she calls herself a different name, and it's like, I just want to get to the bottom of this.
What happened the day that you found out your daughter was injured?
It didn't happen on that Pacific day. It happened when she was born. My daughter, I had complications. This was my first child. I was 18, I was young. I might have been dumb and naive, but I wanted to be a concerned parent. I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything right. So after the complications at birth and everything, I requested them to do x-rays. At the time of giving birth to her, she had gotten stuck. Her right shoulder got stuck. I know it's painful for me, so I could only imagine what she was going through. Physically, on the outside, everybody says that she was okay, but me personally, as a mother and as that mother intuition, I wanted to know that on the inside, was she physically okay? And they denied me x-rays. They sent us home. Before we got sent home, I noticed, I was breastfeeding at the time, and I noticed a cracking, popping noise as if you're going to crack your knuckles. I heard that in her arm. I asked the nurse to come in and help me, you know, breastfeed and everything, and she heard the popping noise, and I still continue to ask for help. Like, can you x-ray her arm, knowing the fact that she was stuck at birth and knowing the fact that it's not sounding right, and I personally believe something is wrong. I got denied. They sent me home. A month later, I wake up to my child spitting up blood. That had to be the most scariest night or morning of my life. She had the clavicle bone fracture, and I'm not exactly sure, but the fracture between her arm. There's more fractures. Now I'm scared because, like, what is going on? What happened?
Those are my kids. Mine. Mine. I love them just as much as you love them, so why would you think I could do anything to harm my babies?
You do think you're too good for him, don't you?
Probably.
High school dropout, raising a baby.
You think Brian is cheating on you, but we know that you cheat on him.
Will it all end here?
He had put his hands on me.
Come on. You hope he tells so you can break up with him.
Also,
I have never loved anybody more than him.
I seen the picture, man. The profile, it's saved on our phone.
he insists he found her fake profile.
It was never me. You must be looking at somebody else.
Monday.
She had the clavicle bone fracture, and I'm not exactly sure, but the fracture between her arm. There's more fractures. Now I'm scared because, like, what is going on? What happened? She wasn't waking up, no nothing, so I checked her. So when I checked her, I seen this red stuff coming out of the side of her mouth, so instantly I picked her up. And when I picked her up, she started coughing, so I pat her on her back, and she spit up all this blood. So I woke up Michael, and I woke up my mom, like something ain't right. So we rushed her to the emergency room. They kept her for a 48-hour observation, spinal tap, x-rays, everything. In the meantime of the x-ray to see if anything was internal, I requested them to do an x-ray of her arm. They ruled it out as she had an abscess on her neck, on her throat.